Hi everyone, it's Chenso from Reality Art Pod, here to talk about the challenge season 41, episode 12, titled Punch You in Your Face. Last week on the challenge, after Dee and Derek won the daily, Johnny and Gabe couldn't get on the same page and lost the elimination to Aviv and Jeremy. I put a link in the description to my Challenge 41 playlist, so you can catch up on my previous recaps. If you like the content, consider liking, subscribing, and using my link to try Paramount Plus for free. But let's dive into it. Players get back to the house and celebrate Aviv and Jeremy's win. The Americans remain aligned against what Jeremy calls Olivia's Mafia, which is Olivia, Anissa, and the UK players. Everyone's still talking about the drama at the previous nominations. When Turbo was offended that he was called a pussy, Theo is fired up against Turbo and wants to get Turbo out of the game. As players head to the daily challenge, Turbo tells us that Theo is a pussy chicken. This challenge is basically a commercial for a movie called The Running Man, with a message from Glenn Powell, where Glenn describes the movie. The description of this movie made it seem watchable, but I bet I'm gonna watch it and hate it. In the challenge, TJ's gonna throw a bunch of keys on the floor. Each key unlocks a container, so they need to run around to find the container that matches the key they pick up, then undo the chains and ropes around the container to release a car. Then they have to use tools to remove the car's hood, find their tracking device, and drop it in TJ's basket. The first team to complete this will win the daily, and last place goes straight into elimination. Ashley is very horny for Glenn Powell. They get started. Leroy's pushing himself so he can push America to do more. Olivia and Will are struggling to communicate. Will feels like he's doing all the work. Aviv and Jeremy are first to open their container. Nani and Justin don't know how to drive the car, so they push it. Same for Turbo and Sydney. Aviv and Jeremy find their tracking device and lock in as the daily winners, and other teams trickle in. Theo gets to the finish line without Adrian, but Adrian's coming. But Michaela calls Theo cheatin' Theo, which offends Olivia. So Michaela says she's gonna punch Olivia in the face, and Michaela said the thing yet again, but that escalated quickly. The bottom two teams are Leo and Ashley and Dee and Derek, but in the end, Dee and Derek are the dead last losers, and will go straight into elimination. The players in the middle will form the jury and will vote one of themselves into elimination to face them. Back at the house, Olivia calls Michaela a bully, and Michaela stands by what she said. She just doesn't like Theo and Olivia, and that's that, Pat. Dee and Derek want Theo and Adrian as their opponent. At this point, Theo is accepting his fate as a nominee. He's confident he could win the elimination. The Americans plan to make a decoy plot, telling the house that they're all voting for Anissa and Jake to prevent Theo from staking his claim and trying to save himself. But who cares about this? Players are going to the club to twerk on each other. Leo tells Adrian that he supports her and encourages her to stake a claim, but Adrian says Leo is being puppeted by Ashley and calls him a little bitch. Sydney is worried that Adrian is gonna try to steal Turbo from her. She's disgusted. Turbo is down to play dirty and trick Theo, calling their plan Karma Sutra 69. Operation Karma Sutra 69 continues with Leroy lying to everyone, saying they're targeting Anissa and Jake. The next day, Leroy tells Anissa that he's voting for her, with Olivia, Theo, and Adrian eavesdropping through the wall, falling victim to the plan. They feel so safe. Anissa feels betrayed and reports this back to the eavesdroppers. So players head to nominations where no one steps up to stake their claim. Leroy tells us he was Denzel Washington with his acting. They get to the vote where the Americans vote for Theo and Adrian, tricking them and making them feel really dumb. The UK alliance votes for Leroy and America, but by a vote of 5-3, Theo and Adrian are voted in. Later, Olivia and Theo are kind of making fun of the Americans, saying, ooh, they thought they were so slick, but they were so slick, they totally fooled you. Anissa feels dogged by Leroy, but she understands that he wants to win for his kids. She even admits that she wants to be more cutthroat, which I do agree is a big part of what Anissa's game is missing. Getting ready for elimination, Dee admits in confessional that she has a crush on Turbo, which was so random. In elimination, they'll be playing Bad Dreams. Players will sit on beams facing each other, hitting the other team with what TJ calls weapons, until both players on the opposing team fall or drop their weapon. Both players on the other team need to fall to win a point for the round. Best of 5 rounds wins elimination. The weapon is a pillow. It's basically a pillow fight. In round 1, Theo mollywops Derek so hard he instantly falls, but Dee beats Adrian, making round 1 a draw, and the next 4 rounds are pretty much the same thing. Derek instantly falling and Dee not falling and making it a draw. So they get through the 5 rounds without either team scoring a point. This whole elimination was just a bad idea. And this goes to a tiebreaker where TJ will flip a coin to decide if it's guys or girls fighting. They'll do one more round, this time standing on the beam. All 5 rounds should have been standing on the beam, alternating guys and girls. So it ends up being a sudden death round between Theo and Derek. They really draw out the suspense as the guys slowly get on the balance beam, but in one hit, Derek goes flying into the mud. Ashley confesses to us that this is giving her the ick and Derek should hang up his jersey. Theo and Adrian win the elimination and Theo calls everyone pussies, which of course sets off Turbo and leads to a fight where Theo calls Turbo a traitor and a liar. I'm sure this fight will continue into next week. So we say goodbye to these players, starting with Derek, who I've given a hard time the last few seasons, feeling like he was selfish to stay in the game with his leg injury on season 40, and I feel like it was selfish for him to come back so soon, still at times dealing with this injury in this season, especially on a season that was so partner-based based, and he's not always a good partner in general, injury aside, where he cost both Blue and D their opportunities on their rookie seasons. While I rag on him, he did win one daily. It's not like he's an absolutely terrible competitor. My biggest issue is he really doesn't bring anything to the story of the show. There's no good drama. I forget that he's there half the time, and I think Ashley's right. It's time to hang up the jersey. And D, who I had high hopes for, with her being on my wish list to be on the show following her performance on Survivor. For a rookie season, she did an amazing job. She won 2 dailies, made alliances, made a pretty deep run into the game. She was even in some messy drama with her quickly getting into a showmance with Bananas after having a hotel romp with Will. Now she has a crush on Turbo. There's a lot going on with that, but I still feel I enjoyed her more on Survivor. I found her pretty reserved in her gameplay and her confessionals, which confuses me because her behavior was spicy, but her personality was so serious. But she's a great competitor. She ultimately wasn't at fault in this elimination, didn't lose a single round, and she definitely deserves another chance. So that's all I have to say about this episode. Let me know in the comments what you thought of the episode and D and Derek's departure. If you like the content, consider liking and subscribing. I'll be back next Wednesday with more challenge. Until then, you know where to find me. Bye.